Okay guys, so today's battle report is the Battle of Fontaniva, which took place on the 6th of November 1796 in northern Italy, part of the Third Relief of Mantua. Start off with a little bit of a background. Austrian forces were beaten in September and they pulled back to Mantua. Now, Napoleon was a general at this time and he took charge of the French forces in northern Italy. What he did was he split his forces up and garrisoned them. Vorboys was north by Trento, and Masina was at Bazzano, and Alvici was in a place called Verona. Now, on the 1st of November, the frail corps began to cross the Piave River, but upon hearing this, Mesna pulled out of Bazzano early on the 4th of November, headed for Vicenza, which enabled the Austrian forces to occupy Bazzano because there was no resistance. Bonaparte was determined to attack the Austrians, stop them crossing the Brenta River. So what he did was Bonaparte accompanied Aglio's division as it advanced northeast from Vicenza to Bazzano. But Mesna took a more southerly road with the intention of crossing the Brenta River at Fontaniva and rolling up the east side of the Brenta in a flanking manoeuvre. But when he arrived, General Major Anthony Lipthay was there covering Fontaniva with elements of the 4th and 51st Regiment. On hearing that Masna was approaching, this was late on the 5th of November, Lipthay pulled his troops back to the east side of the river and sent word that he was about to engage the French. So this set the stage for the battle, which began 6th of November 1796. So let's now go and have a look at the table and the forces. Okay guys, the table is set. This is the scenario, which you can get from the Green Dragon Games website. Link is in below. Setup, etc. And over here we've got the tokens. First fire won't really need. Broken and disorganized, disordered, broken and disordered, etc. And break test. Again, they're available to download if you want them. So the armies was the Austrian army was Major Anthony Lipthay, user command, and he had infantry regiment number 4 and 51 and artillery battery. And there they are there. Artillery battery, Lipthay there in the background, and infantry regiment number 4 and 51 defending the bridge. So there's the bridge over the river. And then they get reinforcements on turn 3, which is another regiment, and on turn 4 they get a second reinforcement. So them two are here. They will come on turn 3 and turn 4. For the French, we have there's 5 divisions, but if you look, there was 9,500 men, and there was 8,000 Austrians. So it's not that much different really. So what I've done is I've given one unit to represent each of the brigades. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brigades, and the regiments are light cavalry on the end. And there we've got the commander in the middle there, Mesna. And there's Mesna in the middle. So French are lined up that side. There's the bridge. The Austrians are defending on the east side of the bridge. Turn 1. French are attacking first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an end of round recap. So let's see how they get on. Oh, just a quick one. Because I'm using 15mm, all ranges are in centimetres, not inches. It makes playing large games on a smaller table a lot more viable by using centimetres. Okay, so there we go. We're going to do round one now, and then we'll come back and I'll give you a quick recap. Okay, so at the end of turn one, and what I did was I rolled for each one as a separate brigade. So each one's got their own commander, and then the reroll will come from Vici if it's needed. These first two failed the tests, but they get to move one. This one passed, but only passed enough to get one move anyway, and it's the same with the others. So basically everything moved forward one move, which was a bit disappointing. But they're not in range, as I say, because I'm using centimetres, they're not in range, so their move's 12 centimetres. The muskets have only got a range of 18 centimetres. And although the cannons have got a longer range, they can't shoot because the bridge is blocking line of sight. So until they actually start to go up over the bridge, the cannons are going to be pretty ineffective. But I don't really want to move them, because once the French get on the bridge, the cannon are going to be so effective against them. So I want to leave them there. So anyway, that's the end of turn one. We'll put this here in front. Put it on the river there like that. Okay, let's do turn two. Okay guys, that's the end of turn two. That was very eventful. This unit managed to move forward once, that moved forward twice, they moved forward once. That unit managed to move forward 3 times and got onto the bridge. That moved forward 3 times and got to the bank of the river. And that unit moved forward once. Now, because the Austrians never moved, but there was an exchange of fire. So that French unit fired on them, which disordered them and inflicted 1 casualty. They in turn fired back and disordered them, but no, the French managed to save the hits and no casualties were caused. This unit of French fired on the artillery. Luckily enough, didn't do any damage. The artillery fired back, managed to disorder them and inflicted 2 casualties, which forces a break test. So I'm going to do the break test on the camera so we see what happens. So here's the break test table. We roll 2 dice and we got 1, 6. So 6 from shooting. Infantry and cavalry, the unit holds its ground, it stays where it is and does not move. Okay. So they hold the ground. Okay, so we're going to go to turn 3, which means the first unit of Austrian reinforcements will arrive. So let's come back at the end of turn 3 and see what happens. Okay, end of turn 3 recap. This unit moved from there forward and spread out along the bank of the river. That unit moved forward, did the same thing. Then there was an exchange of fire. That unit took a casualty and got disordered, and in return the Austrians did nothing to the French. The reinforcements arrived behind the 51st Regiment, so the reinforcements are on there. Now these are disordered, but it's going to come off this turn. They managed, so they are blocking the bridge realistic. They fired and managed to disorder the cannons, so that means they can't move, but they're not going to move anyway. Just Again, lucky they never cause any casualties because they won't last long if they do. The other two managed to move up behind them, so they're all ready to get over the bridge. And this is going better for the French than I thought it was going to. That unit of French fired at the Austrians, disordered them again, but didn't cause any casualties this side. They fired back, caused a casualty, didn't disorder them, so that disorder is going to get moved now for the next turn. Okay, the cavalry managed to move up as well, but at the moment this bridge is a bottleneck. So let's see if the French can do anything, because now they are not disordered anymore. So let's see what happens this turn. We're on turn 4, which also means the last reinforcement for the Austrians is coming on. So let's see how the French get on. Okay guys, round 4 was eventful, not so good for the Austrians. So here we go, quick recap. The unit of French here fired, disordered that unit, and they fired back and disordered them, but no casualties caused this way. They're on 1 casualty. Over here, these all managed to move forward. Now the unit that was on the bridge got a really good roll. They ran down the other side of the bridge, charged into the cavalry, charged into the artillery, who failed to hit with the closing fire, and rolled their attack dice and took them off the table completely. So that's the end of the artillery. That unit is no longer disordered. Fired at that unit, put another casualty on it and disordered them. They fired back, put another casualty on them, but again, they're not disordered now anyway. And then the 4th Austrian unit came on, fired at these coming down from the bridge, put a 3rd casualty on them and disordered them. So depending on what happens next time, these could break if they take any more casualties, but so could they. So let's go to turn 5. See what happens next. Okay guys, that's the end of turn 5. They've now lost their disorder for turn 6. They got hit and disordered again, but no casualties were incurred. That unit wheeled around so they can get effilade on that unit, which means they double the number of dice when they shoot. So they fired 6 dice at them. Only managed to do 1 extra casualty, but that puts them up over the stamina level, so they've got a break test to do. And these are all backed up on the bridge now on the way over. They fired at them and did nothing, and they fired with their 1 dice because they're in attack column, did nothing. That unit of French fired at them. I managed to put another 2 casualties on them, so they're at 5 now. So again, they need to do a break test. So I'm going to do the break tests now. So to be fair, what I'll do is I'll get 2 white dice for the Austrians, 2 blue dice for the French, and then we'll roll on the break test, see what happens. Boom. Well, the Austrians have gone because it's 11, it's 10 plus 2 is 12. The French scored 4 plus 1 is 5, which is unit retires 1 full move to its rear without changing formation at all times, avoiding contact with enemy. Once it has moved, the unit becomes disordered. If this is not already, if unable to comply, the unit may make 2 moves to its rear. If it able to reach the decision, unable to comply with this further requirement, the unit breaks and is scrapped for 4 or less. Right. Okay. So they've got 2 units behind them. So that means, can they get? Oh. Can they make 24 centimeters? It's going to be months, hasn't it? So 24. Yep, they can. So they can retire. So I'll just do that now, so they can retire back to there. That way now. They can retire back to there. And they're still disordered. And this goes back down to 3. Right. That unit is gone. So I shall remove them tokens. That's the 51st Regiment. Took a mauling, which they did in the real battle. Okie dokie. Let's go to the 6th turn and see what happens now. Okay guys, end of turn 6. They shot them, managed to put another 2 casualties on them. They fired back and did nothing. That unit was disordered, couldn't move. That unit had nothing to shoot at because they managed to kill the unit last turn. They managed to move, well, they were in front, so they moved forward, wheeled, fired at these, put 1 casualty on them. They fired back, did nothing. That unit fired at them, managed to disorder them. They fired back and did 1 casualty. So at the moment, the French have got 2 units over the bridge. And turn 6, so we'll roll a dice, and 4, 5 or 6 we'll play a 7th turn. 6. Okay, let's do turn 7. Flip this back over to 1 and a 6. Here we go, turn 7. Okay, end of turn 7. They were not able to shoot at anything. The cavalry and the unit that was disordered have moved up over the bridge. They fired at that unit and put a casualty on them. These fired at them and did nothing. They fired back, disordered them and put a casualty on them. They managed to fire at these, FLA'd again, double number of dice, got 3 hits and they got 3 saves. The invincible French unit. So anyway, this unit fired at these, got 2 casualties on them, which has forced a break test. Now I'm going to roll for the break test like I've done before, because at the moment the Austrians have lost 2 units. So according to the game, they've got 3 left. If this unit breaks and runs, then the French have won. And if not, then it's a draw. So here we go to the table. Roll 2 dice. We need to roll high. 6. Minus the 2. That takes me to 4. And 4 is 4 or less. Shooting and hand to hand. Infantry, the unit breaks and is deemed destroyed. So they run away. That wasn't very good, was it? The French won. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thanks for watching.